again. We know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warriors. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are tuning in from the world to our show. This is the Coffee Chat Show. We are sponsored by Explore ProTech. My name is Sondra. I am the host and producer, so I get to do the behind the scenes and the front all at the same time. So this show is to help entrepreneurs build their business, improve their business, and just all things business and things that go around it. So we started talking about customer service, customer journey last week, I think. So we're going to continue that conversation because our show builds on each other. So you can always go back and preview old shows, like them, share them, so that people can follow along the journey, basically. So today's topic is about customer service and how to set yourself apart, because customer service can get a very bad rap as a customer and as a business owner. So it really has to start with your mindset on what you want customer service to look like in your business. Think about what you like and don't like in other people's businesses. How can you adapt the things you like and prevent or at least smooth out as much possible the bumps that you've seen in other businesses? Not everybody's going to like you. That's just let's just start with that. So this isn't really about the people that don't like you. This is about your customers, your people that are buying from you, people that want to buy from you, the potential to buy from you, and how do you make your service to them stand out, stand apart. So definitely you need to know what your customers want. So we've talked about this in the past about having customer research, talking to past clients, present clients, and potential clients, and seeing what they need, want, and how you can help them. That doesn't stop. That's not something you do one and done. It's like, oh, I did customer research at the very beginning of my journey, and it's 3 years later. Don't stop doing research, because the world changes in a blink of an eye. It's a fact. You're not going to get away from that. And we see a lot of companies nowadays, especially ones that have not advanced or have not done customer research, that have been around for 20, 30, 50, 60 years, going out of business because they didn't want to do research and update and stay with time. So customer research, I would say at least yearly, if not quarterly, so that you can keep up on what your customers are wanting and needing. What is their pain points, which is definitely a way to service your customers. So once you know who your customers are and what they need, then it's about you delivering to them in a way that makes them feel, lack of a better word, special, like unique, like what they picked you for a reason, and you want them to you want them to feel a certain way. Customer service that sets you apart, I feel, in my own opinion, is that it's about a feeling. How did you make your customer feel? Are they a number? Do you know their name? Do you know what they ordered? Do you know their pattern of ordering? So maybe they ordered something once a quarter, once a month, maybe it's a one and done. But you knowing those details and tailoring your customer service to that is extremely important. And it sets you apart because if you can say, hey, yep, I know Lisa ordered 2 candles, Susan ordered 3 candles, uh, Peter likes the bundles. If you know those things, it helps you personalize your customer support to them and customer service to them. It's all about that customer journey. Um, of course, when you get thousands and thousands and thousands of customers, you have to put some uh, automations and data that you want. You have to make sure you know what data you want and how you use that data. And we'll actually talk about automation in the customer journey next week. But part of that automation, of course, is getting to know what your customers are doing. And when you're small, it's a little bit easier because you can know names and faces and numbers really quick. As you grow, there's definitely where you put in processes and automations to help with that. But also part of the customer service journey is complaints. Everybody's got an opinion. It's not going to 100% match yours. So how you handle those complaints, because unfortunately, the complaints are what people look at when they look at reviews versus the good. It's just, I don't know. It's the society we're in. Not my favorite thing about our society, but so how are you going to field those complaints? Is there something you can do to make the customer happy? There are going to be times that you're never going to make the customer happy. Like it doesn't matter what you do. You can give them a refund. You can bend over backwards. It just isn't going to happen. They don't like you for whatever reason. They're already set in that way. You got to move on. They're going to be one of dozens. They're not going to be, your ideal, but you want to at least give an attempt and say, how can I make this right? And if it's impossible, they're like, oh, I want a refund and a credit of 15, services or whatever. That's just not feasible for you, of course. So definitely make the attempt to make it right. If it's just not doable or there's no way, then move on, put a feather in your hat and be like, okay, last one, let's move on to the people that want my services and want my products. So don't get stuck on fixing a customer complaint. Have a resolution that you can do. And if that doesn't work, keep moving forward because, again, you want to service the people that do want to be your customers, not the ones that are giving you a really, really hard time. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, as long as you're doing the deliverables you're supposed to do, you're being honest, your integrity, all of that is in place. So definitely give them some space, but don't give them so much space that it's all you focus on is the negative and that complaints. Mr. O, I'm so glad you could join us today. Come on in. I know you have customer
Hi,
service as a business
greetings.
owner, as a employee. Like, talk about customer service journey. Like, what makes
We
customer service good?
we juggle all of these, eh? And you have to. I mean, this is life. You've got to do that. And I think you mentioned something very important at the beginning, which is your customer research. For me, that is one of the most important things that one can do. I look at myself as a customer. When I go to whether it's a service provider, whether it's a retail store, whatever it is, there will always be a mistake that I find, and that's just me. I find mistake in all they do. Okay. Now, if you do not try and anticipate the mistakes that you could be making and getting feedback from your customers, you will never know what to do for you to be able to keep them. Because when you have a customer, ideally, you want to build a rapport with the customer. You want to build, what do you call it? You want to build trust. You want to build loyalty with the customer. Now, if you don't know what it is that you can do to keep them happy, to keep them satisfied, you are not going to win. You're not going to get loyal customers. You're not going to get loyal clients, if I can call them that, depending on which side of service you provide. So you've got to research and keep researching, not just for new customers, but your existing customers as well. You need to know, what do they want? How do they like their stuff packaged? How can you reach out to them to kind of convince them to take packaging as best as you see it, to take your service as best as you see it? So engage with them like all the time. It's not a once-off thing. As you said, once a year doesn't cut it for me. Once a quarter, it's better. But keep engaging them. Keep finding out what is it that they find in your business that they like about you. What is it that they find in your business that they feel you can improve? And if you have that, and if you've got that engagement with them, and you are able to build a common something that you can respond to them with, so that it's not just about one customer, but it's about like all your customers, that you can respond to them in one way. Let's say they say to you, no, we want a 1 kilogram packaging of something. And when you realize, but if I package it in 1 kilogram, and they don't use it in this kind of time period, it's going to expire. Now, if you say to them, the reason I'm packaging it in this small packaging is because I don't want it to expire in your cupboard or in your fridge or whatever. Now, you're responding to all of them at the same time, and you kind of clearing and clarifying why your packaging is that way. So for me, your customer research is very, very important. And you cannot wait for a year before you do it. Quarterly is okay. But I think monthly, just reaching out to them on a what do they call, on an email or something, to say, how did I service you this week or this month? What do you think we can do better for you? And then get the feedback and respond back to them. For me, that is good customer service. Yeah. So just for now, that's what I want to put across, Sondra. Thank you.
I love that. Yeah, definitely asking for feedback all the time. And I've talked about this, especially service-based, because that's more my realm. Having an offboarding. So if it's a one and done service, you can have an offboarding procedure asking like what worked, what didn't, how can we improve? I'm very big on surveys. I answer surveys. I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to answer surveys. As long as they're short and concise, I'll answer them. If it's, 50, 100 questions, of course not. But if you can boil it down to 3 to 5 questions, most people will answer those, and a brief survey always helps. And I know some companies that do, if you do the survey, you can get a coupon afterwards or whatever, to make it insensitive to answer the survey. So definitely that. And just having that standard operating procedure around, yes, this is when I'm going to ask for feedback. This is what I'm going to do with the feedback. This is what I'm going to do when something negative comes in. Like, I'm going to do steps 1, 2, and 3. And if people give you feedback and don't do the generic answer of thank you, like say thank you, I could see it that way, or thank you, I might apply that, or thank you, that helps me look at things differently. Yes, thank you is important, but thank you on its alone does not set you apart. Like, everybody says thank you. Okay, thank you. And they like, okay, we pitched that one out or whatever. But say why you are saying thank you to them. And maybe it's like, hey, I hear you. That's not possible. Like you were saying, I can't package it that way. Or, I hear you. That's something I will look into. Just something to go past that initial thank you that everybody's going to give somebody. Again, we're talking about setting yourself apart as a business owner. So, like you said, well, this is why it's this way because of this, but thank you for your feedback. Explain yourself that somebody can understand your process. I think that goes a long way when you explain yourself versus being like, thank you, or nope, I can't do that. Okay, that's great. Why? Like, I'm the customer. This is what I want. Which, again, you can't please everybody, but yeah, you can at least acknowledge their feedback. And same thing with good things too. Thank you for your great feedback, or thank you for being a loyal customer for the last 3 months, because their journey. So that little tweak of making it a little more personal goes a long way. Even if you just call them by their name instead of hello customer. Okay. Hello customer makes me feel like a number. Like hello customer 99 or hello order number 3010. Like, okay, I have a name and I know you have my name because I, had something shipped to me or bought a service. My name's there. Like, why are you calling me by a number? Is I don't know. That's just something generic, and I get it. But even with automations nowadays, you can personalize them very quickly without having to call them a number
Absolutely.
or make it generic. And test your answers. Ask people like, "Hey, I gave you this process, and this is how it went, this is how I did it." Say, "Hey, did this make you feel unique? Did it not make you feel unique? Was it you didn't care? What did you like and what didn't like?" Even that part, ask for feedback on. I know we're asking for feedback, but feedback is the only way you can improve and figure out what is working and what's not working. I don't have sales. Okay, so did you ask your customers or potential customers or past customers or the public, what they thought about your offer or what they thought about your products? Well, no, nobody's buying anything. Okay, well, you can either stay stuck and that nobody's buying anything, or you can find out why isn't anybody buying anything. Maybe your product doesn't do the pain point. Maybe you're marketing it to the wrong people, the wrong service, the wrong way. So you're not going to know until you ask. Asking is gaining knowledge, and then applying the knowledge is what's going to grow you as a business owner. So go ahead, Mr. L.
No, absolutely, Sondra. And I think something you spoke to, personalization when you respond. Yeah, customer number 99 or order number 450 doesn't cut it. And I think if you look at some hotels, I mean, you book into a hotel, they get your name, they get everything. When you get into the room, the TV displays your name. They welcome you with your name on. I mean, that's awesome. You're not just a number. Well, they're really they don't know you. But then you feel special because they greeted you or they welcomed you with your name. So personalization, when you respond to customer feedback or customer research, whatever you do, is extremely important. And I think the other point that I want to bring in, which I think you've alluded to, is positive language. You cannot just use any language. You cannot just say, how do I put it? You cannot just say anything. You've got to be positive in your response as well. You were saying now, you can't just say thank you. There has to be, you find ways of responding to them that they want to read your response. Encourage them to read your response by the way you respond to them. That is also very, very important. And then I think the one other thing that I want to bring in is empathy. When you understand what your customers are going through, you'll be able to understand them better and be able to service them the way they want to be served. That is another very important factor in customer service. So be empathetic, use positive language, as well as personalize your responses. Even when you do your customer research, you don't just do a blanket research. I mean, we use, what do they call it? Mail merge. I think it's one of the systems that we can use. Use mail merge because it personalizes every person's email or message. That, for me, is another very important factor in your customer service. Thanks, Sondra.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And like I said, we're going to talk about automation next week. But also another thing I was thinking about, especially since we're international, if and I know you can't always know where people are tuning in from or talking to you from, but if you know that there's a cultural thing in place, so you need to call them Mr. or you need to call them Mrs. or ma'am or sir. But that also depends on your business. If your business is like super button up professional, then you're going to use Mr. and Mrs. If it's, I don't know, a mom and pop store, they're probably going to use your first name. But think about what your business is and how you want to personify that, and then think about who your customers are, and then, if possible, think about the culture they're in. So if I am servicing, um, people in the UK, I'm going to use possibly their terminology that's not going to match me in the USA, word for word. So if you can even take that step forward and be like, oh, okay, they're in Africa. Hey, I know it's 3 a.m, but I just want to touch base with you. Like, even those little things of knowing where they're at. I mean, especially if you're doing physical products, that's very easy because you get their address and so forth. But even when you're doing services, a lot of times to get payment, you get their address so where they're at. So, and I do that even with time zones. Like, I'm not great 100% of the time, but I try to think about time zones and say good evening to Mr. L because it's evening time there. It's
Yes.
just early afternoon here. So even those little, what seem to be little, goes a long way because everybody is like, oh, how do you always remember all the time zones? And I'm like, I try really hard to think about where they're at. And, are they in the west side of Canada? Are they on, East Coast, West Coast? And if I get it wrong, I'll apologize. And usually most people laugh and they're like, at least you made an attempt to acknowledge the fact that, it's 7 a.m. I think the other day I met with somebody that one person was Africa, one person was 3 hours time difference from me. Like, we all were in different parts of the day at the same time in the meeting. But those little things can go a long way, and it just makes people unique. And definitely think about, again, what did you like in somebody's customer journey as a customer? And yes, if something goes wrong, apologize and be genuine about it. Some things are out of your control. Shipping is shipping. I mean, physical products, that's a whole beast of its own. But yeah, definitely going that. And then sometimes, especially depending on how much information, if you have a phone number or if you have the means to either shoot a text and be like, hey, I got your email, I'm working on this, or hey, can I give you text messages on updates on your shipping? It's taking longer than we thought it was going to. Or hey, can we do a 5-minute phone call so I can understand the problem better? Or, even a thank you. Some of those things go a long way. A lot of people don't do phone calls nowadays. It's definitely not something that happens very often anymore. And as much as I don't like a million text messages, it just shows that people are trying to communicate in a different way, because email can be rough depending on how often people check things and stuff. So definitely keep those things in your processes because those can make it even more unique, for sure. And again, if you can fix the problem, at least acknowledge the problem. Don't be like, oh, they're mad. That's great. They're mad. Who's going to talk more about you? It's going to be the mad person. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the happy person as far as in a public view. So definitely do your best to fix that, or at the very least acknowledge it and say, hey, our bad, we'll do this to fix it, or our bad, we can't do anything about it now, but we see this as a problem and we'll fix it in the future. Because sometimes you just don't have any other way of doing it. But at least you acknowledged it and said, hey, I hear you, I see you. Customers want to be seen. I think it's really big. Go ahead, Mr. L.
Yes, I just wanted to talk about acknowledging a mistake that happens, because I mean, customers, although we are customers, but we also understand we are all human. So if there's an error in an order, there's a mistake or something like that, just own it and apologize. And if there's something else that you're going to offer to them to replace whatever product that you had sent them, just follow up. How did that work for you? Because if you don't follow up, you just say, okay, I've replaced that product, so what? You are thinking your client or your customer is satisfied with the replacement. Meanwhile, you haven't owned up and you haven't followed up to check, are they happy with what you've replaced your product with? Are they happy with the feedback that you gave to them? Are they happy with your apology? All those things come into play. Just own up and follow up. If you don't follow up, you will never know. And I think most of the time that's how we lose customers. And we think because I have replaced the product, I'm good. They will order again because they know if I make a mistake, I'll replace. But then that is not what they want. They want things to be right first time around. You don't have to, they don't have to be coming back to you to say, this has gone wrong. And I'll give you an example. There's a new noodles maker around, and their noodles are cheaper than the normal brand that we use. And the other day, I just like, okay, let me test and see how their noodles come out. They come out quite well. But then in one of the packs, there was no, what do they call it? This little, what do you call it?
Seasoning packet?
Yes, it wasn't there. Okay. So I sent through an email, and that was 2 weeks ago. Sent through an email to say, just for you to know, in one of the packs, I didn't have a seasoning. Up to today, I haven't received a response. Okay. And guess what I'm doing? I'm not buying from them anymore. Okay. They were going to have because my kids love noodles. I was going to buy probably a box every month. But then I'm not going to go to them anymore. I'm going to buy from the normal uh, manufacturer that I've always known because they are reliable. And when you mention something, they come back to you. They do come back to you. So I thought, well, financially, it's hard these days. So look for something reasonably priced. When I found them, I thought, yeah, we'll go. But then when they don't respond to my email, I'm not going to buy from them anymore. So them not responding to me says they don't care about me as a customer. They think we'll just buy. And what am I doing? I am now mentioning this. And I know I'm not mentioning names, I don't do that. But for them, it may just come out negative. Some people may know which product it is because it's a new product. It's not all over, it's just in a few shops, and they will find out later. Some people might even ask me, which one was it? And one to one, I'll tell them which one it was. And what it's going to do, it's going to now dent the image of this manufacturer. And are people going to be, and honestly, I had told quite a number of people about how awesome this product is, and they've got other flavors that the normal producer doesn't have. And I thought I'll try them out, and they come out quite nicely. But then with this, I'm gonna go back to them and say, well, those guys don't care about us as their clients. Are they going to buy from them? No. So that's reputational damage to them. So just giving feedback to your client, apologizing and following up really works magic because they know you care about them. And as I mentioned, empathy earlier, they know you understand their problem. They know you understand what you did wrong. They know you want to make things work. Even if you don't replace, even if you just apologize and follow up to say, well, how is it now? Did you buy another product? Has this worked for you and all that? That's a follow-up that they need, and they will engage with you. They'll be happy to really engage with you. And for them, you will not just be a supplier and for them being a client. It's going to be a relationship thing. I've got a relationship with this manufacturer, and they will find out what else do you have that they can support you in all that you have. And that's just from following up and well, owning up and then following up. So yeah, that's very important for me.
Yeah, 100%. And that's how you get a loyal customer. Because even if you make a mistake and you, like you said, you make it right, that customer possibly will come back to you or recommend you and be like, hey, my journey was a little bumpy, but they've made it right. So, still go try this new product, or I heard they came out with a new flavor. Have you tried it or whatever? You're still going to refer them because they made it right. And
Mm.
having a process is so important. Like you said, 2 weeks later, that's a lot. That's a long time. So, it's not, I mean, and it can be as simple as people just are not checking their responses to emails or didn't
Mhm.
realize somebody responded. But that's on you as a business owner. You have to have that process of if even when you send out automation emails, and I've gotten caught on this before where something went out and they responded to it, but it didn't notify me there was a response because it was a response to an automation.
Ah,
And
yeah.
so it was a glitch on my side. And I was like, oh my gosh, I missed this. And it was several weeks later. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Da da da. Let me make this right. And the person's like, oh, I just figured you forgot me. And I'm like, I sincerely didn't forget you. I just didn't see the response in the system, didn't new system to me, didn't realize this is how it shows things. And
Mm.
when that's so
And
important
sorry,
because,
Sondra, do you now see what the response is? We thought you forgot.
right,
We thought you forgot me. That is pushing your customer away. That will
right,
push your customer because how can you forget about me as your customer?
right. I
You
paid you.
know,
I paid
so
you money. I paid you services.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So,
I mean, I may be buying a product that's only $10 once a month. But as a customer, I feel I'm supporting you with my 10 Rand a month, $10 a month. So I I I need you to recognize me, to say you support me, and I recognize you that you support me. It doesn't have to be only those that buy for thousands of dollars or rands or pounds or that your smallest customer also needs nurturing because when they are able to buy more, they are going to, and they're going to support you because whether they've been buying once a month or twice a month or every day or every week, you've been with them, you've been engaging them. So whenever they've got more to purchase, they will use it on you, you know. So it's yeah, no, it's absolutely important to not forget your customers, to give them feedback.
right, 100%. Because again, word of mouth spreads, good and bad.
Mm,
So you want
mm,
the good to be spreading, like, hey, this company made me feel like I spent $1 million and I spent 10. You want that level of service.
yeah.
Um, and especially when you're growing your business, that's so, so important. I get it when you get corporations and stuff like that, you can get pushed to the bottom. But most of us that watch the show are small business owners. So yes, every person that is a customer, whether they spend at get the 99-cent upgrade from your freebie to
Mhm.
your $1,000 package, you treat them all the same. Yeah, you're
Yes.
grateful for the 99 cents and you're grateful for the 1,000.
Mm,
And also the process is, yeah, if you're having process, a customer is a customer is a customer. Doesn't matter what they did or didn't spend or how often. So if your process is just label it as a customer, not a customer that's small, big, medium, large, but this is how I treat customers from start to finish. This is how I get feedback from them. This is how I check in with them. Um, like you said, checking in with them down the road. So say you sell them, I don't know, a candle that's supposed to last 30 days or 45 days or whatever. Check on it, that's another way to set yourself apart in 45 days. Go, hey, how was that candle, man? Did you burn it every day? Do you still have usage of it? Is it time to get a new one? Or here's our new scent for the fall. It's September 1st, so the fall season is definitely in the United States right now. Um, so uh, that shows that you knew what they bought, you knew when they
mm,
bought it, and
mm,
now you are still interested in them as a customer, even though they may or may not buy another candle. You don't know if they're going to buy another candle or not, but you can think,
mm,
hey, we care. This candle was supposed to last 45 days or however long it was supposed to last.
mm,
Is it time to get a new one? You didn't like it? Oh, okay. How can we fix that if we want to fix it or don't want to fix it? Um, did you tell anybody? Like you can go so many different, and you just branch it off. Nurturing, we nurture
mm,
people to become clients, you nurture people to be loyal customers afterwards. So that
Yes.
sets you apart. So if you can say, hey, I don't know, you bought a brain dump first quarter and we're going into the fourth quarter. Hey, do you want to do it again? Like, how did that help? Did that work for the last couple of quarters? Or quarterly review or any other, I'm thinking services that are kind of time bound. That worked for you, or in this season in the fall when people are transitioning into school and things in the United States, like we did this last year, so it's that time again this year.
Mm,
Would that help you? Is as far as me as a service owner, you can still do that even though it's not a product. You can be like, you bought at this time and it
mm,
helped you solve this problem. It's a year later or 6 months later. Is this still a problem? Is it the time of year where this is always a problem and we need to just, touch base and do a one-time thing on this time of year? But you can do that as a service-based person too, not just a product. And a product's a little bit easier because you can track how long things are supposed to last. But if you're a good business owner, hey, transition happens in the fall, transition happens in the winter, holidays are coming up. People start planning now for the holidays.
mm,
So I'm going to start putting out blogs about holidays and planning and getting ready for those as a business owner slash mama slash grandma slash everything in between. But I'm already starting to think about that stuff because and so are companies. I mean, we already see in the United States, we already see fall, Halloween, Thanksgiving. Heck, some stores already have Christmas stuff out. So all that stuff, we're in that transitional period where we're transitioning into massive holiday season in the United States.
mm,
So companies, if you watch what's going on in the store, what's going around you, football season started. So like people are being gearing up for that and all those things. Trends. If you can see what the trends are, you can also help your
yes.
customers be like, hey, I have this product to help you. I know this is going on. I don't know. If you're service-based, they have people in high school. I know, fall season, sports,
Mm,
basketball, da
mm,
da da da.
mm,
Or your calendar's getting crazy. So let's do, a brain dump or let's do a system audit. Like what systems worked last fall? Are they going to work this fall? Maybe your kids are in three different school buildings and all the things. But that's you taking that data and not just storing it, but using it to make your customers feel unique, feel heard, feel seen as a
absolutely.
service-based provider.
Absolutely.
But so you can work both sides. It's not just about product. Oh, I sold you, a seat warmer last fall. Do you need another one? Oh, well, we talked about schedules last fall. Do we need to revisit or,
Mm,
maybe um, obviously your kids have changed grades or moved out or whatever. So you're in a different season now for the fall than you were last fall, no matter what age your kids are.
mm,
So,
mm, mm,
but knowing that data, I think it's really about collecting the data, but then using the data, and then that follow-up is just so extremely important, and the research. So say, hey, we set goals. I don't know, in January, we're going into the fourth quarter. Do you want to, maybe they only do goals once a year. Do we want to set up appointments so we can set goals this fourth quarter for the next year? Like
mm,
just knowing that about your customers is extremely important and useful. I mean, wouldn't you want that repeat customer that's going to keep talking about you to like, hey, I did that brain dump with her and like I've been using that for the last 6 months. Um,
mm,
People talk about those things that make them a unique customer. Hey, Sondra came back and asked me about that the last 3 months.
mm,
So I'm on schedule with her, we should do this together or whatever. So um, collecting the data and the research is important, but also using it to nurture your clients, your customers, to
mm,
make them feel
mm,
unique
mm.
along the journey um, is so extremely important. So I love that. I love that so much.
All right.
Um,
I
Go
think,
ahead.
Sandra, we've spoken about, I know it's about time, but we've
Yep.
spoken so much about an external customer. We're forgetting about the internal customer, which for me, those are the people that can make or break you, your staff. They can help you grow or they can break you. I mean, for instance, if you delivering products and your drivers don't feel appreciated, how is the attitude when they go out there and deliver? That is very important. So I think we need to also take care of our internal customers. We need to empower them. we need to show them love. We need to celebrate them when they do good. We need to train them and support them so that they feel they are part of the organization, so that they feel that without me, this organization or this company will not go anywhere. So they kind of feel ownership of the company. Then you know that wherever they are out there, your salespeople as well, wherever they are out there, they represent you well because they feel appreciated at home. When I say at home, I mean in the office. You, as the CEO, the owner of the company, or the founder, you appreciate each and every person that's helping you to grow your business. That way, I mean, even with word of mouth, they are the people that are going to sell your company or sell your product because they are the people that are going to tell other people about what they do, where they work, and how awesome your products are. So for me, your internal customers are also very, very important. Of course, if you have staff working for you, that for me is also important. I mean, that also help you to grow your business. For me, they are actually for me they are the the uh, the most important before you even go outside. Your internal are the ones that you need to empower, to support, to show them appreciation and celebrate them so that they feel, oh, we are here. This person sees us. When we go out, we go out with that mindset that our CEO sees us, our boss sees us. So we go out there to represent our company well. So yeah, that's another important aspect of customer service.
Yeah, 100%. Because even as small business owners, will use contractors or employees or whatever. But yeah, if you have contractors or people that are not treating your customers appropriately, you have to deal with that. But you also need to find out why. Maybe something's going on internal that you need to fix on your internal staff to make sure that they're treating your customers the way you want them to be treated. It's extremely important. And even if something I mean, I do virtual assistant, executive assistant work, and we all have our bad days. And I've had my boss be like, hey, that's not her normal, like something's going on. And then I'll go back and be like, oh, yep, my bad. Just had a bad day, or responded in a non-professional way. I'm a very emotional person, so sometimes gotta check those emotions and be like, nope, those don't go into this. And every once in a while, I have to go back and apologize and be like, okay, that was an emotional response, not a professional response. I am human. It was 10 o'clock my time. I was done with the day. But I took responsibility for it, and my boss, the client I work for, and the customer are both like, okay, we get it. We're busy, da da da. But yeah, even like you said, treating your staff is with integrity and respect, and knowing how they're treating your customers is extremely important. Yeah, the excuse of, oh, I didn't know my customer service phone rep says that. Well, that's you. That's your problem. I know people that record customer service reps, and you hear always like you're being recorded for internal processes or checks. Well, you got to check that as a business owner. Oh, I have a call center. Okay, well, have you ever listened to any of their calls, listened in, seen how they treat people, or have you listened to a recording or whatever? And if you scratch your head and go, well, no, well, okay, that's, again, as a business owner, that's your fault, not the customer service call center's fault. It's your fault for not doing those internal checks and doing those internal processes. Yes, processes with the customer is just as important as processes with your subcontractors, your employees, you're using things. Yeah, your product can be amazing, but if the person who delivered it or the customer service rep on the phone was just really bad or really nasty, I don't care how good your product is. I don't want it because you're treating me so poorly. So yeah, very good point. Very good point. So as always, time flies when we're having fun. So Mr. L, tell us about your business and then I will go and we will get going.
All right. My business is called Litmok, and we are a business development agency. You just come to us and say, well, we want to extend our business into this. We want to advertise our business. This is what we want to do, and we'll help you scale it up. That's what we do.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And his link for LinkedIn will be in our show notes because we have an amazing Miss Susan who, speaking of internal staff, she does the cover, she does our show notes. She also turns it into a podcast on Spotify. So give us a listen over there. Of course, like and share our show. That's how we grow. That's how we, and then Miss Somerville who helps explore ProTech in the background. I am Sondra. I'm the owner of Get It Done Coaching, and I help you reach your goals by figuring out resources, brain dumping systems, schedules, everything in between. I'm your one-stop shop, not only to reach your business goals, but your personal goals, because how your personal life is going is how your business is going. So I firmly believe in doing both sides of that. And my link will be in the chat or be in the show notes. And then also I take feedback. So if there's something you want to learn on the show or like or don't like, let me know. Set up a call and we'll have a conversation around that. The show is tailored to help business owners grow, whether you're a startup or you've been in business like me for over 5 years and everything in between. But we want to sign off on what one of the owners of Explore ProTech, Mrs. Sheen, says. We hope all your